Hi, my name is Marjani Aladin. I am the owner of Boards and Platters Charcuterie, and my artistry is making charcuterie boards. I think that making a charcuterie board is artistry because it is an expression of your own palette from a dietary and from a menu perspective, but also when you actually start to compose the board, your artistic vision comes to life through color, through shape, through texture and composition, and that's really where you get to make your board your own piece of art. Everybody can have the same ingredients in front of them and put a board together completely different, and that's how it becomes your art. So charcuterie is actually, in its definition, cured meats. Traditionally, in European cultures, Italian cultures, this has gone on for generations and generations. There are small batch experts that spend years and generations curating recipes and figuring out how to properly feed and take care of their livestock so that they can turn into really delicious charcuterie one day. And they feed them special diets like acorns and mushrooms and apples so that when we get them, after they've lived their beautiful, amazing, massaged life, we get to enjoy them as well. Now, the culture of charcuterie has definitely changed and transformed over the last 5 years. We know it as meat and cheese, but now the components of what that means from an aesthetic standpoint has really elevated. Traditional charcuterie is often very minimalist in aesthetic, where you'll get meat and cheese and some olives, maybe a little pate on the side, and often not necessarily as abundant as what we're generally accustomed to now in this current charcuterie culture. I started making charcuterie boards because my friends and I used to have wine nights and no one would bring food, which is not really a great combination when you have a lot of wine and no food. And I was working full time, but I wanted to contribute, so I started making charcuterie. And what's funny is I grew up with both of my grandmothers on both sides of my family being big hosts. My grandmother on my mom's side always made little cheese boards when people came, maybe not to the extent of what we do at Boards and Platters now, but she always said when someone comes to the house, have a little something for them to eat, a little cheese, a little crackers. And then on the other side of my family, my dad's mother is, I come from a West Indian family, so we're Haitian, and that means food is a big part of the culture. And no one can throw together a big feast like my grandmother on my dad's side. So I think I've inherited the desire to host people and to serve them. And I saw that growing up. And when the opportunity came, I think I just kind of jumped at it and started making boards. My business came about accidentally. It was a process of bringing them to girls' nights, and then my friends were like, what is this? This is a charcuterie board, girl. And everybody felt fancy and bougie and elevated, and it was kind of no fuss, but it also made you feel like you were doing a lot, you were experiencing a lot. And one girls' night turned into, hey, can you make one for my birthday? And can you make one for my friend? I want to send it to her for her birthday. And I realized that people were really enjoying this as a luxury that they can enjoy at home with their friends. I do believe that most people create their boards with aesthetics in mind. However, you can't make the board aesthetically pleasing without going to the store first. And so board curation starts with the menu. So whatever you're doing at home, you're sitting down and you're thinking, what flavors do I enjoy? Do I like something mild? Do I like something spicy? Do I want something sweet? And you might not have the specificity of every single ingredient before you walk into that grocery store, but you might have an idea of what flavors that you might or your guests might enjoy. And so I think that both aesthetics and flavors are an important component for most people when they're putting a board together. However, who doesn't want a beautiful board, right? So we love working with our local farmers. There are plenty of markets that you can connect with them, especially the Georgia Farmers Market, which is down on the south side if you're in Atlanta. I always recommend. And then we can also buy produce wholesale, as do most restaurants. But the more local, the better, and we really try to connect with vendors in that way. Same with some of our small batch cheeses and our meats as well, which is really exciting. So there are, the big brands that we know, but there are also some really small batch brands, both internationally and nationally within the US, that you can actually go on their website and get cheeses that you never heard of or you don't have access to in a grocery store, which is exciting to be able to give our clients access to those types of flavors. One of the really important concepts that we like to apply is color theory, and also the application of composition and color and texture as we put them on the board. So if you're looking at each of the ingredients as they stand, everything already has a shape, it already has a color, and it already has a texture. And you have the ability to play on that natural shape and natural texture, or you can turn it into something different. For example, this Havarti with dill is a yellow cheese with flecks of green dill in it, right? But it allows you to have a little bit of texture. So when I'm placing that yellow, a yellow ingredient, my goal is to place it against something that is going to make it pop. Putting two yellows next to each other, although they're going to look beautiful, is it going to elevate them to their maximum aesthetic? Maybe not. What would do that? A bright color, something opposite on the color wheel. A red, a blue, a green. That's really going to make those ingredients stand out. Another element that I like to apply is separating ingredients by what they are. So a meat next to a cheese instead of a cheese on top of a cheese on top of a cheese. And what this does is it not only allows it to be aesthetically beautiful, but it is actually visually interesting, but it also is guiding your guest how to eat your board. Because often charcuterie, especially in this current climate, can be a little intimidating. You're like, I don't know what those cheeses are. This is all beautiful. I don't even really, it's a little intimidating sometimes. But things like cutting cheeses prior to it, putting them into bite-sized pieces and chunking them, as we mentioned before, cutting your Gouda into something that's going to fit perfectly on a cracker allows it to be less intimidating, and then placing it next to ingredients that make you say, okay, I want to try that, and they're next to each other so they complement into perfect bites, allows people that might not have tried an ingredient naturally gravitate towards it. And that's what we want to do. We want people to be excited about the ingredients. We want them to be empowered to try them and then enlightened at the end. The tools that I use make the process so much easier, and I tell people that all of the time. Now, you can always use standard kitchen knives. I recommend something that does not have a serrated edge, something very smooth, so you can get nice, clean, decisive cuts, because we like that juxtaposition between some texture, some ruggedness, and then we also like those smooth, clean edges, and that really allows you to separate the ingredients on the board and allows the eye to catch each ingredient in its full glory. My favorite things while creating a board: the first part is the menu curation. I think that coming up with the aesthetic of it has been something I've been able to formulate over time, right? So I kind of have my process down, and I love that. It's so much fun. I love color. However, the ability to introduce somebody to a flavor that can actually transform how they look at food or transform their experience with the food in the moment, to me, that has longevity. That says, wow, I'm at an event and I'm more present with the people because we both connected over a cheese that we both never had before. Or I introduced my grandma to this cheese and she was like, I don't eat fancy cheeses, and now she's ordering charcuterie boards and asking for them for Mother's Day. And I love that because it makes an indelible impact with something that is so natural, which is food, something that really transcends cultures, it transcends age. We are all connected by it. And so I really love that because I think it has far longer impact past just that moment of, it was breathtakingly beautiful. It elevates that beauty because it gives it depth. So that's one of my favorite parts. And then to add on to that, it's the rare moments that I get to watch people enjoy the boards, being able to see them go, oh my gosh, what is this cheese? Where did you get it? What can I do with it? Or, oh my gosh, I love this cheese, and then we have that mutual connection of they have an experience and I'm pulling them back from a memory that they might not have had before. And I truly enjoyed that too, because people enjoying the boards is really what it's about, and knowing that I get to have that impact really makes it all worth it. Good food allows you to stop time. It allows you to be in the moment 100%. And that's really magical in a society that we're consistently pushed to go and go and go.